Hello everybody and welcome to the final round of the J2iCS Sprint Series. It's round 8, it's Oulton Park, and it's time to decide who is going to be our champion this season. Nottingham and Squilliam come into tonight knowing that they could take the title, although with Nottingham's penalty and points losses at the Hockenheim Ring, it's quite a long way behind Squilliam going into this final race. Squilliam knowing what he needs to do going into this round of the championship. There is the gap. 15 points between Squilliam and Nottingham at the front. Nicoletta is in third place ahead of Beaver, who moved up to fourth, moved 2 places up to fourth 2 weeks ago. Bozak down to fifth. Then you've got Urko down to sixth after that round. Cat Daddy Jason Munuki is in 7th place, not all that far behind, ahead of Black Bob Wallace. Then Spook Dubs and Omega rounding out the top 10. Got it Dominate Dust rounding out the top 12. And then you get to those who are quite a long way back in terms of points. So as you can see, that third place battle in the championship is also going to be a very interesting one, with such small gaps between those guys. In the teams championship, Vision Motorsports are just 13 behind Night Racing now. They are the two fighting out for the title. Nick Squared 72 points behind. They're not going to be able to make that up over the course of tonight. So it's going to be between Night Racing and Vision Motorsports, and that might well be a more changeable margin between those two teams than what we've got in the Drivers' Championship. We will wait and see. It's myself, Ewan Leary. I'm Jim Cunningham with you again for this final round of the championship, as we have been for the second half of this season. And it's fair to say we've got a favourite, Jim, in terms of the Drivers' Championship. We know that Squilliam is with his head and shoulders above Nottingham by his standards at the moment, but he's got to complete these last 2 races without too many major problems before he can truly crown himself the champion. And of course, he will be looking for the Vision Motorsports team to overhaul a bit of a championship gap and try and win the team's championship as well. So a lot to look forward to tonight.
Yeah, it's really a lot of exciting things going on. There's a pretty sizable gap there, but as you and I learned last week in the GTP class version of this, we quickly saw things that could have really flipped everything right on its head. So all it takes is one incident that catches you out and put you in last place, and it'll sure flip-flop the points around, so it's definitely not a done deal, as you and I were ready to hand out trophies last week. and that one jumped up and bit us, but I think like you said, he's got a mission, and Oulton Park is certainly one of those tracks that can get you in trouble, but it's also a track that everyone knows so well. You've been racing this track since you came in racing Formula Vs and Mazdas, and everyone just knows every bump on this track. So we'll see. I'm not going to root for anything negative to happen, but I'd like to see some drama.
Absolutely. You raised a good point, actually, about especially on iRacing, the familiarity that people are having on this circuit. I was doing a broadcast at this circuit on another sim the other day and earlier this week, mentioning that actually it's not a circuit that people outside of Britain really know very well, because it's a fairly local circuit here. Plenty of F1 fans who don't watch any other motorsports who are English or British will not know about Oulton Park, for example. Certainly non-motorsport fans won't, in a way that's not the case for places like Silverstone, for example, where you do have that much wider knowledge. But you raised a good point about actually in iRacing, everybody does start off here some way or another. Maybe not on this full layout that we're using here tonight, going right the way towards Island Bend and Shell Oils Corner. But the point stands that they're all going to own this circuit, and they're all going to know very well this circuit as well, which I think is a good thing for the championship finale, especially when you're considering such a difficult circuit to overtake on, like what we see at Oulton Park. We're not expecting a race tonight like we saw at Phillip Island, but then again, we weren't expecting that at Phillip Island either.
Well, you're not kidding. That was definitely the surprise of the season right there. That race was fantastic. And you know what? In some ways, these tracks are a bit similar. There's a lot of drafting spaces, not what you would think of as passing corners, but these cars have a fair amount of grip, and these guys have a lot of skill driving them. Like it happened at Phillip Island. I think it could happen here as well.
Yep. Well, you never know in this series. It's been absolutely fantastic from start to finish, and we're going to end off with another couple of great races. In case you've not been with us so far this season, by the way, 20 minutes for the opening race, which is coming up after the 15-minute opening qualifying session that is just coming to a close right now. And then we've got a top 8 inverted second race to come with 40 minutes rather than just 20. So a lot to look forward to here tonight, as always, in the J2iCS Sprint Series. And as you say there, Jim, we'll be back for the Endurance Series finale next week. We'll be on air an hour earlier, though, so don't get caught out by that and join the race about 50 minutes in when we start the broadcast an hour earlier next week. We're at Motegi for a 2-hour special. We're starting at 9 p.m. Eastern rather than 10, which is when most of these broadcasts start, apart from the Crown Jewel races in the Endurance Series. So don't be caught out by that in 7 days' time. Meanwhile, qualifying session has just come to a close. I think Blackburn Wallace was the final driver to come across the line and improve there. And now we can see the grid. Nottingham and Squilliam, as they have been all season, on the front row together, 1 and 2. Head to Simply Stephen DC, with Blackburn Wallace rounding out the top 5. Urco just over a half second back in 6th place, with Nicoletta and Gavin Adman on row 4. Then it's Ian Dust and Justin Renucci rounding out the top 10. AJ and Sneezy Jr. are on row 6. Ahead of the final 3 drivers on the field, Biker Pilot, Ryan Schwab and Yomega in the top 15. So it's a good field again. I think it's almost all the same names than what we had actually 2 weeks ago. Although Simply Steve is back this week after a little bit of time away from the Sprint Series. And so hopefully he will be able to put himself up towards the front at the end of the day. I don't think he's been here, Simply Steve, since the Chicago round, maybe in the middle of March. Maybe I've got that wrong, but I think he has been away for a little while in this series. Anyway, the lights will be coming on rather shortly, and the drivers will be getting ready to go in a few moments' time once those red lights go away, and our grid will disappear in time for the race and the lights to go out here in a few moments' time. Not a very long run towards turn 1, to be honest. Not a big braking zone either, so it's not. The calamity is possible, certainly, but it's not that big, a big flashpoint, maybe like what you have at the hairpin at the Hockenheim ring, although that in turn didn't provide too much drama and misfortune for many of the drivers in the race 2 weeks ago, in fairness. So hopefully it is going to be a nice clean start to these ones as well, as we've still got a driver missing on the grid here for some reason. They're taking their time getting us underway, and now finally, after a couple of minutes, they will get onto the grid and we can get racing. The final races of the season in the J2iCS Sprint Series here at Oulton Park. It's time for Squilliam and Nottingham to go into battle one more time as the lights go out here at Oulton Park and the race gets underway. Inside line for the 2 of the championship contenders there on the inside through turn 1 for the first time, as it's pretty much flat out on the opening lap in these F3 machines. They get through cleanly, and it looks like Nottingham has taken the lead in towards the Cascades downhill there through the first time. Oh, and a spin in the background. It wasn't going to last long, unfortunately. A spin in the background through turn 3, and it was a clean first corner, but it didn't last long. A few cars are around in the background. Yeah,
that was Squilliam that I believe crashed there. No, it wasn't. Never mind. It's showing
definitely fine.
It's showing all these off. They're showing it as an off track, not a crash, which is weird. Maybe it was eating my dust.
Happened down the other side. Yeah, it happened down the other side here. So I'm not sure what that was all about there, by the way, driving up the rear of somebody. But it starts all here with, that's weird. It starts with maybe a bit of contact or maybe grass into a spin. Not entirely sure, but oh dear, there's definitely some front end damage on that car that goes straight on into the wall at Island Bend, and that's going to be the end of that. But we're back to live pictures now, and Nottingham is leading the race ahead of Squilliam. And look at the gap the front 3 have got as well. Oh, and in the background, from 5th position, somebody going straight on through Druid's corner. This is all happening here on the end of the opening lap, but not for the front 2.
So I think that was possibly Nicolator that went off track back there.
Yes, he did. Oh, and he grabs the wall pretty hard as well.
He did. That corner right there will definitely bite you. You will grab the wall there because you're really carrying a lot of speed through there, and when you lose it, it's just slick as it can be.
Nicola, don't forget, is only 10 points in front of Beaver, his teammate there. So Bozak not too far behind as well. So they would have been looking to make up positions, but neither of them are here tonight. So who does that leave? Urko maybe, but he's in 6th place in the standings at the moment. Nicola might well just get away with that and finish in 3rd place no matter what happens. In terms of the team's championship, Night Racing obviously represented by Notovin and Bozak not here, and Vision Motorsports represented by Gavin Amman and Squilliam. They're certainly favourites to take this here, Vision Motorsports, with Bozak not here. So they just need to have a good round, and so far both of them are in the top 5. And as far as the drivers is concerned, you can see the front 2 running nose to tail out front right now at nearly the end of the 2nd lap. Yeah,
they're definitely stretching it out a little bit, and Squilliam is, I don't think he's pushing as hard as he can right now. He's letting his tires come in. He's just, if he could stay looking at the back bumper of Notovin all night, he's got it made,
Yep. That would be the ideal place to be. Just to give you a reference point, by the way, in the sprint race, 14 points for a win, 11 for second. That would only be a 3-point loss, although he's already lost one of those points for pole position here. Notovin has gained one of those back, so the gap's now 14. On the road, it would currently be 11, but actually extend back to 12 because Squilliam has currently got that fastest lap point that will be going his way. As we get to the end of the first race, we'll tell you what Squilliam requires in race number 2 to be crowned champion, because it will be a top 8 invert. And these are the guys fighting for the pole position in the next race. Blackbird Wallace currently in that 8th position.
Yeah, these guys are having a nice little battle back here. I was sitting here looking at the timing and scoring, and they were all over each other for a good portion of that lap. And they still are, really. There's 4 of them right there together, pretty close.
Yeah, really close. And that is a decent run, actually, from Black Bob to get alongside Sneezy Jr., maybe. Not quite far enough alongside, I would guess, in towards Druids, but he puts him off slightly. And, Sneezy Jr. goes wide. He brings it back for the second part, but Black Bob Wallace is super close now, coming under the bridge and into the final corner. He's having a look down the inside, and that's going to be no way through. Sneezy Jr. will keep 7th place, and they will keep fighting with each other by the looks of things over the end of another lap.
I mean, he got a nice run off of there. I'm a little curious why he chose to pull out of the draft so fast. If he'd have stayed in that draft a little bit and snuck out at the last second, I think he could have drove it down in there on him, But when he pulled out, he, just kind of shoved his nose down and slowed him up, and he lost all that momentum he had.
Yeah, slightly puzzling, but he's just trying to regain these places again after having lost them in the start. Down 3. Oh, and Sneezy Jr. off. He's gone for a spin out of turn 5. It's that traction zone in the transition between the banked right-hander there and the flat road afterwards. This is a pit stop for Itmadust. I think this is all fine. He's just coming in, but yeah, look at this. Oh, gets over the curb a little bit as well there, Sneezy Jr., and goes around.
Surprisingly, that is a place that you can go around fairly easy. It's happened to me several times there. It's pretty non-ominous looking corner. You're coming out of that Shell's corner there, and it doesn't look horrible or anything, but it can be tough. Yeah, I've spun a lot right there in that exact same spot where he just spun. Of course, you can say that about every place on every track that everyone has spun, as far as I'm concerned. I spin everywhere, so.
I mean, it's possible to spin anywhere around this circuit, so, it's not going to narrow it down too much. Look at the grass lining this circuit. Still one of those old-school racetracks that really does have a lot of character and does punish errors. That's for sure. You can't run off the road or anywhere around here like you could 2 weeks ago and get away with it. Some of the drivers are finding that out. And that's what makes this championship battle still between these two so engaging, really, between Notovin and Squilliam, because conventional wisdom would say that Squilliam's got more than enough points to just cruise around and hang on here. And as he said, if he just keeps Notovin in his sights all afternoon, then he'll be fine. But it's easier said than done to do that, and easier said than done to even not make any mistakes around this circuit. And there you go, just clipping the grass on the way towards Knickerbrook there, and they get away with it through the middle sector. But circuit can be fraught with trouble, and that's what's going to keep this battle so engaging between the two of them.
Yeah, I think Squilliam is settled in now, and that won't help you. He got off track there pretty good, which is easy to do through Druids right there. That's that's another one of those spots that if you don't hit that apex just right, you wash out.
Yes.
Let's
so.
Apparently we had a Biker Pilot had an episode. I was trying to see if it was a real episode or a fake, but I believe it's the real deal. Let's see.
Okay, let's have a look in
it's
towards.
going to be right in Island. Huh? Nope. Oh my
goodness!
Oh,
on the brakes.
Golly, he's got his.
Often.
Well, this brake bias. I guarantee you, he probably started with his brake bias a little far back or whatever to get until those tires got warmed up, and he probably forgot to change it there because that definitely looked like a brake bias error there for sure. Because that car just snapped around. He had the wheel turned a little bit, and when you got the brake bias set wrong and you got a little bit of wheel in it like that, it'll snap over on you.
Started with the brake bias too far back, I would hazard a guess, to be honest with you. But,
yes.
but there you go.
But a lot of times you'll do that to prevent the car from locking up the fronts early on when they're cold, to leave as much grip on the front tires as you can. And so that's a situation there where he probably just didn't slide it back forward because the car had been handling fine and you don't notice. And then all of a sudden you put those rear tires at a little bit of extra stress with that wheel turned, and that's all it takes. Look at these two go at it.
Goodness me.
Oh, man.
Contact very nearly between the two championship rivals. Squilliam trying to put this one to bed with a victory, and that was so close to a spin. There for Nottingham, that was unbelievable. Through turn number one. Again, a look down the inside of Cascades, and he can't be seen because he was blinking there slightly.
He was blinking.
Well, they get away with it. But these two are showing that they are going to fight for this.
Oh, man. I tell you what, Nottingham wasn't playing there. I mean, he was like, that was kind of almost like one of those Ayrton Senna moves from back in the late 80s where he just like, you ain't coming through here. We're going to wreck before you come through here. Wow.
He wrecked himself there, Squilliam, out of the turn 5, by the way. It's all over the place, but he gets away with it that time round. As I mentioned earlier, he's probably going to win the team's championship with Gavin Amman, with the two of them in the top 5, and Bozak not here tonight. Nottingham is not going to be able to defend on his own. Even if he wins this race, he will not be able to score as many points as those two will cumulatively. So we'll just have to see how many points they gain rather than... Oh, when Squilliam's in the grass! Whoa, big save.
Oh, my
big
goodness.
Save in towards Druid's corner. Again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier on. Every corner around here is a real ordeal. And,
let's go back and look at that again.
Unstuck very easily. This is what happened.
Oh.
Goodness me.
Yeah, well, it was wrong. That camera angle switched on me to a bad camera angle for that. But, yeah, that was... Oh, my God. He come back live, and he's off in the grass again.
You do go a bit more wide into the grass there, to be fair, and through turn 1, but not through Druid's corner like what we saw earlier. There's a little bit of sort of... I'm not going to call it AstroTurf because it's not quite, but...
I know what you're talking about.
I don't know what the material is they put down there, but it's not too bad to drive on at all. It looks like grass, but it isn't on the exit of turn 1, especially at Oulton Park. It's a really big circuit for that.
It is kind of like AstroTurf. It's probably not quite as long as AstroTurf is, like AstroTurf is, maybe say, I don't know, half-inch thick or something, and this is probably more like an eighth of an inch thick, but it's kind of the same texture.
Yeah, and it's also just not that sort of same dark green, sort of grass green that whatever they put down here. I suspect it's some sort of material. I honestly don't know what it's called. I can picture what I mean, but I can't. God knows what I'd have to Google to try and find it. But yeah, I mean, it's something you put down almost into the grass almost. And it's sort of a material that the tyres don't mind at all here. We'll see it again on the exit of turn number 1. I wouldn't imagine Squilliam's going to go quite as far as he did last time, but he might do. We'll find out here as they come through the turn. But it just sort of maintains the colour of the grass, and there you go on the outside there. It maintains the colour of the grass fine, but everybody runs in it because it's not really like running in the grass at all.
Yeah. There's a spot right there with it. That's got a lot of it, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I think AstroTurf is probably the closest description, but just shorter.
It's hard to describe, but anyway, especially when you don't know the name for it. But there we go. I can't quite grab it for the moment. Through turn 4, Bob Wallace is continuing his run back through the field. Lost a few places in the opening lap, and now on the back of Jason Winooki for 6th.
He's having a good run, But and Black Bob has his moments for sure. Like he'll be fast, and unfortunately maybe make a mistake or something. But he's got a little quickness to him for sure.
Yep. It's just Winkie's in the grass, and there you go. That'll be one of the easier overtakes he makes. Jason Winooki just gets slightly in the grass and doesn't have a major problem, but he does lose quite a few seconds, and Black Bob Wallace go through into 6th position.
What happened there? That was weird.
Too wide.
He got on the grass. He got out. He got his rear tire out on the grass.
Yeah, wide in the grass on the power. No, went wrong.
That'll get you every time here.
Yeah. He's still up 3, by the way, and still going to benefit from the reverse grid. These times are getting faster, by the way. Notvin again into the low 25s this time. Again with the fastest lap, though, this time round. And at the moment, he would reduce the championship margin to just 10 to Squilliam as things stand. I maybe should have looked up on tiebreakers a little bit more earlier, because I'm totally... the reason being, normally you just go for race wins, and that seems like a sensible thing. However, Notvin is about to tie Squilliam for race wins at 5. So what happens then? We'll have to find out a bit later as we go back to Sneezy Jr. trying to catch up to AJ. These two quite a way off the top 8 invert as things stand.
Well, we had a little... was it? Oh, there it is. Okay. So Sneezy Jr. here, let's go back here. He gets off track here, apparently. Oh my goodness.
Save.
Did he?
No. Oh, no, he didn't save it. So
no, that was close to a nice save, but man, that's the thing. When you get into grass here, it does seem to me like the grass is slicker here than some places. Some grass is okay, whatever, but this grass here, it's like hitting ice when you get out there.
Yeah, maybe it's a bit like going back in time in our racing to that more old school grass that we used to have that really was icy. We don't have that anymore unless it rains, which it isn't going to here.
Yeah, well, that's another issue, but let's see.
Yes.
It's a nice battle right here.
Urko, well, this is closer than I thought. Through for 3rd place, Urko looking for a move, maybe down the inside. Urko didn't have a very good start based on what we saw there in the incidents or whatever, but now he's looking to get that podium back again.
Yeah, of course, we've seen some decent runs out of Urko here lately. He's, that was close. Oh. I'm not going to use that expression that everybody uses there because I don't like it, but let's just say that one probably puckered him up a little bit.
He'll be awake now, and
yeah, I think he will.
We'll be looking for that 3rd place again in the not too distant future. Ryan Schwab's into the pit lane again, by the way, and probably out of the running in this first race. If you believe it, we're already less than 5 minutes from the conclusion of this first race of the night, this championship deciding pair of races that we have here this season. Notvin and Squilliam 1 and 2 as we expected them to be, but Notvin with just a little bit more speed. This is what happened to DC into the first chicane, the Britain chicane. This is almost exactly what Urko did on the exit. That being going a bit wide into the grass and nearly spinning, but doesn't look like DC has done that this time.
This is Jason Winooki. Well, he held on to it though.
Wide.
Yeah, that was just that's a pretty common off track right there. This is DC again. Oh. Wow.
A big bump out there as well when you're in the grass.
Big bump.
You find yourself in trouble quite quickly, but he's got away with that one. As we go back to Urko again, closer again to Simply Steve, and he doesn't nearly spin himself on the grass there out of the Britain chicane, so he'll be a lot closer into this chicane, but just no way through here. And maybe now we are starting to see the characteristic of Oulton Park shining through a little bit. Now we're settled in after 15 minutes. Got to say, it was a very lively first 3 quarters of this race or so. Maybe we're starting to see the settled Oulton Park sort of feel here, and maybe that is showing us that it is going to be relatively difficult to overtake if things are settled and you're stuck behind someone like this.
Yeah, I don't know that we've actually just seen a straight up clean pass yet. Pretty much everything that we've seen has been somebody getting a little off track, making a little bit of a mistake or something. And they've all kind of settled out. Let's pop back here real quick, just a couple of cars back. Okay, it's not quite as close as I thought it was going to be. I thought he was a little closer than that. We don't really have any really tight battles right now. Your leader has let's look at this.
Traffic. The leader's got traffic at the moment.
Oh,
not a bit. That is Ryan Schwab just in front. He's actually just made his way back out of the circuit, but it should be fine for Notovin. I'm not entirely sure whether this next lap is going to be the last one or whether we are going to have 2 more at the line. And it's going to be very, very close. I do know that. Notovin will probably be hoping that the next one is the last because he can hold on to that fastest lap point. He can gain and get to just 10 points behind Squilliam going into the final race and really put that pressure on at the very end of this season. Schwab just pulls off to the right-hand side now. The next lap will be the white flag, so Barney will have the white flag in hand right now and be waving that as things stand. A final lap now for Notovin to take his 5th win of the season.
Yeah, he's opened it up pretty good there. I'm sure he's hoping that Steve could come back and do something on Squilliam, but he's not near close enough for that to happen. As we, ride here with Notovin, the only battle that's kind of happening right now for, legitimate battle is back there with Black Bob and Gavin Amerman, and it's not even, really close enough to make anything happen. We'll stick with them through Shell here.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just saying we'll ride with him here through Shell Corner, and then we'll go back and follow Notovin around on his winning lap.
Yeah, we'll see him cross the line in a moment. But to be fair to Simply Steve and Urko, they're not actually that far behind. So you mentioned there's not actually any wheel-to-wheel battles going on the circuit, and that is true. But look in the background there. Steve and Urko are not far away at all. And that's encouraging for the second race. When those two start in front of these two, you just never know what they might be able to do here with that track position around Oulton Park. And, of course, plenty of guys will be wounded from that opening lap incidents that we saw through Cascades for the first time. So a race fraught with incident at the beginning, but a Notovin victory at the end as he reduces the championship margin by a third in just one race. Notovin wins the first race at Oulton Park, knowing there is still so much more to do tonight if he's going to become Drivers' Champion.
Yep, and here comes Simply Steve and Urko through there. They had a good run. Again, another good run for Urko, Amerman here and Black Bob and Winecki. Oh, hang on to it,
Omega! He needs to get out quickly here. The invert hole is coming up, and he's just about going to get it. Oh, dear, that was a hard break he didn't need. He started last, by the way, Omega, and he only just snuck over the line there for the pole position in race 2. Goodness me.
That was a nice save, though, to get the pole. that was pretty impressive.
He threw it all away.
That was all fun to watch. There's Nicolator coming across, and Biker. Nope, here's Biker Pilot here. He's still got a little ways to go. He is our last car waiting to finish. And okay, now that should give us some results here soon.
Yep, and that will be the end of the first race of the day. The drivers are going to a bit of a warm-up session, and we'll get to chat to our podium drivers in a few moments' time. about their opening race of the day. It's Squilliam who's taken Notovin who's taken the win, though, over Squilliam by 1.7 seconds. Simply Stephen Urko, though, not that far behind. Gavin Emmerman rounds out the top 5 with Blackbird Wallace in that 6th position. Quite a long way ahead of Jason Manucci in the end, who rather finished on his own. Yomega only just got over the line in 8th, as we just saw at the end there. AJ and Sneezy Jr. were not too far away from that race 2 pole position. Nicoletta had to pit and so finished 11th in his bad run of form that he's going on at the moment. He'll hope to rectify that in race 2. Biker Pilot was the last driver on the lead lap, with TC 1 down. Ryan Schwab and Hitmadust were 2 down, respectively, in 14th and 15th. Let's have a chat then to the man of the moment, Notovin, who's taken his 5th race victory of the season. Notovin, congratulations on that victory here in the first race at Oulton Park. Just how important is that in the context of this championship to get off to a good start here tonight with a win? Hello, Notovin. Can we hear you?
Apparently not that important to him at all.
Not sure what's going on there.
Notovin, where you at, buddy? He might be having to fix his mic or something,
Yes, that's true. All right. Well, we'll go to the other drivers first, and then we'll bring him back if he's available at the end of it. Or we'll go to Squilliam next. That's sorted. Squilliam, congratulations on 2nd place. Although a bit of a hit in points by my maths, that's down to 10 points of a championship lead. How are you feeling after that first race?
Yeah, I'm feeling all right. Think the odds are still pretty good going into the next one, so see what we can do, but feeling pretty good, feeling solid.
The odds are pretty good. One question from us that we probably should know, a thing that we probably should know, but we don't. What would be the tiebreaker between the two of you? Because you're now on the same amount of wins. What happens then if you're tied on points at the end of the season?
I believe it's 2nd places.
You know who has best?
I don't, so I'm going to be looking at that when I get done here.
Well, I guess you're going to be hoping that it doesn't come down to that close, to be honest, or down to that many points by the end. But you just never know in these things. And one more on the teams championship as well. Of course, you're paired up with Gavin this season, and it seems to us that you'll be big favourites in that one now as well, with Bozak not here. I've got to admit, we weren't expecting to see Bozak not appearing tonight, but that looks like it's given you guys favourite status for the team's championship as well, despite coming in 2nd place.
Yeah, definitely. It's a shame to see him not show up, but yeah, I mean, I'll definitely take it. So it'll be cool to snag that with Gavin. So.
Well, we'll see if you can get enough points to do it. We suspect so, and we'll see if you can get enough points for the drivers as well. Congratulations on race 1 and finishing 2nd, and we'll perhaps chat to you again later.
Yep, appreciate it, guys.
Thanks very much. That is Squilliam finishing in 2nd. We'll leave Notovin to sort that any audio problems in case he's still doing that, and we'll bring in Steve in the meantime from 3rd. Congratulations, Steve, on a podium in race 1. How did you find that opening race?
Yeah, I mean, pretty fun. Me and Erko had a little bit of gap between us, and it was fun to try to push and try to keep him behind because he had pace today. So.
Absolutely. What are you expecting from this 2nd race? We saw quite a bit of a melee off the start of race 1 down the hill into turn 3 for the first time. What can we expect something similar maybe in the 2nd race because it's a reverse grid?
Yeah, I mean, the first grid's always a little chaotic. I mean, my strategy is usually to keep calm and try to keep the car alive because there's just so many cars on the track in front with the pace differential. But yeah, I think we'll see something. But I mean, I think I'm just trying to stay cool and calm and keep the car in one piece. So.
Well, hopefully you can indeed achieve that, Steve. Congratulations on a podium in race 1, and good luck for the 2nd race.
Thank you so much.
Thanks very much. That's Steve in 3rd place. At the end of race 1. Let's try Notovin again, shall we? And see if we can now chat to him. Notovin, are you there? Can we hear you, and can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I apologize about that.
That's all right. That's fine. Congratulations on winning race 1. I'm glad the racetrack's going better than it is up here for you. It's a good opening race. How are you feeling out there?
Yeah, I felt pretty nice, especially in the second half. The first half was just kind of trying to save my tires a little bit for the second half to hopefully maybe go for the fast lap point, and it seemed to work. I think I have it. I don't know if someone else went quicker or not.
I don't
I'm
think
pretty,
so.
Yeah.
You had it going.
Pretty sure you do.
You had it going into the last lap for sure. So I don't
Yeah.
think you got past there for that.
Yeah, I think
nice.
I think you've got that point. I think in that case, then the gap will be down to 10 to Squilliam, which based on my maths means he needs 5th place or better, and then there isn't anything you could do about it. But there is a reverse grid, and that obviously has got to give you hope. How are you feeling about the margin that you've got to overturn here in the last race?
It'll be interesting getting to the front because this track is it's kind of difficult to pass a little bit, especially if the guy you're trying to pass knows where to defend. But it's going to be interesting, but it's just gonna have to be careful. Is all.
And in the teams championship, Bozak not here tonight, unfortunately. So what are your chances, I guess, Slim, of holding on to the teams championship tonight?
Yeah. He had something come up at the last minute, so he had to dip. But hopefully, maybe if things go our way, we could maybe still get it. But I'm not very optimistic about that.
I think they would need to both certainly finish outside the top 5. Both of them will do the maths on that as we go along. But because you won race 1 and took all the bonus points, you've, I think, only lost 1 point as a team on your own. So you've done a good job in the first race, at least in that. And of course, you've still got a chance in the drivers as well. Congratulations on the race 1 win, Notvin. And hopefully, maybe we'll chat to you again after race 2 as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks very much. That is Notvin to us at the end of race 1 tonight. Still got a chance to win the title. As I say, he picked up in that first race 16 points compared to Squilliam's 11. That brings the Drivers' Championship difference down to just 10 in the favour of Squilliam. That means Squilliam would need a top 5 if neither of them get the bonus points, a top 4 to make absolutely sure that he's going to have a margin over Notvin in that situation. Even a full 36-point haul for Notvin would not be enough to take the title. And in the teams championship, with Gavin Amman's 6 points from 5th position, they only scored 17 as a team. So as I said to Notvin there, they only gained 1 point. And so now Vision Motorsports are 12 behind Night Racing. Although, as we said before, we're pretty sure that team's championship is going to be overturned because even for just entering this race, Ammerman or Squilliam or whoever's second out the two of them, or maybe both of them, they're going to score at minimum 40 points from this race. That means that Notvin has to finish in the top 4 on his own, and if he doesn't, then the team's championship is lost no matter where the other two finish, even if they both retire. So things are not looking great as far as the team's championship is concerned. Great to have both of them still on the line, though, going into this final race. It's going to be an exciting final 40 minutes.
I mean, this is what this is what you come for right here. I mean, the points championship is well within reach. You've got both the guys starting back in the grid and going to have to go through traffic to get there. And it's certainly close enough that it's really achievable. It's not some crazy long shot dream, I mean, last race of the season, and everything's still up for grabs. I mean, even that team championship, the reality was he did a good job defending, in the first race. So we'll see how it all shakes out, but it's going to be tough, but anything can happen, as you and I learned last week.
Yep, we're not going to be handing out any trophies before they've happened again.
No.
We'll not do that. But there is certainly a favourite in both of those drivers and teams championship, and there's no shying away from that at all. Nicoletta should finish 3rd in the championship this season. Urco shouldn't be able to overhaul enough points for that, even despite Nicoletta's really poor form at the moment. She's just getting involved in incidents a little bit more frequently than what we've come to expect from him, which is a bit of a shame for him. But hopefully he can get back on track with a good second race, which, by the way, is coming up in the not-too-distant future. I believe they're just coming towards the end of warm-up now. Although I'm not sure how far they are from the end, to be honest. They're not too far away. And the top 8 is going to be reversed, and the start is going to be super important. Squilliam absolutely cannot afford to get involved in any sort of incident, but incidents is certainly what we saw on the opening part of that first race. So it's going to be very nervous about that going into the first few corners.
Well, that was race 1, too. So this is race 2. This is going to be a little more, I think there'll be a little more action here. The guys realize they can't pass on track. That's the end of the session right there. The guys are going to realize they can't pass on the track, and they're going to be really scrambling at the beginning to grab all the positions they can.
Well, asking whether we'd commentate on an AI race. Probably not. Anyway, Omega has taken the pole for second race after finishing 8th in race 1. Jason Manucci will be alongside with Blackburn Wallace and Gavin Amman on row 2. Urko and Simply Steve rounding out row 3 ahead of Squilliam and Notovin. And then the rest of them that are going to scroll through on your screen will start in the same positions that they finished the opening race. So I won't read them out again and bore you, but there they are at the bottom of the field. So the lights will come on again in a few moments' time. And what a big race that is going to be for the Drivers and Teams Championship. So great that in the J2iCS Sprint Series this season, we've got a championship coming down to the very final race of the season between two great drivers in the Drivers and two great teams in the Teams Championship as well. There's a hole in the second place grid slot on the grid here, and so that is going to make their life a bit easier as the lights come on now here at Oulton Park, and we too get underway here for the second race. Are we going to get a clean start in race number 2 as well? As Notovin's already steaming down the inside or trying to. Look at that. Oh, that was close for Gavin Amman there. Very nearly getting into the side of somebody. Squilliam trying to stay on the left-hand side and out of trouble at the moment as well here as he's got the inside ahead of Notovin. They're both super cautious. Both of the drivers' champions just waiting in line at the moment. And they're still looking for a way through. Look at Squilliam, left and right and free wide with his teammate here. He's going through, slipping through on the inside. So's Notovin, who's side by side with Amman. Oh, and off! Amman's off! Alongside another driver as well. Not sure who that is for the moment, but they're sliding straight towards the gravel. And they are going to end up there as well. Into the gravel between the two of them. But Squilliam and Notovin survive. And they've had fantastic starts. They're up to 3rd and 4th respectively on the exit of the first sector only. Goodness me.
Yeah, it's just they got a heck of a jump, and I tell you what, Squilliam did a good job there. He, there's a bit of luck, I think, in picking which line's gonna, act right going through there. But he's out in front now, so if Notovin's got to take advantage of that before, if they get around if Squilliam gets around these two cars in front of him, he's going to be hard to pass from then on. Notovin's got to get it done before Squilliam gets through this traffic.
This is going to be crucial now for their race. Simply Steve, by the way, has done a good job of getting through the field just as quickly. He's right on the back of them as well. So he has been passed by these two, obviously, because he's starting in front of them, but he's still right there. Blackburn Wallace and Omega are in front, though, of Squilliam and Notovin, who are nose to tail. If Squilliam finishes in front of Notovin, then it's over. There's no need to do any maths. Squilliam will win the title. As things stand with Amman down the field, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for them to win the team's title, but we'll get to that later because Omega goes wide and there might be an immediate chance here for Squilliam. Just on lap 2, he could be into second place already here. Is Notovin going to follow through, though? That's going to be the key here. And he's on the inside line. Oh wow, that's close. Super close through turn 4. Now he's on the outside. All the gravel on this. Oh, wow, look at that. That's like a gravel trap on the circuit now. Notovin's on the outside and he goes straight through into 3rd position. And they get away with it there. Squilliam and Notovin flying through the field.
They are. This is incredible. And yeah, somebody drug a lot of gravel back on the track back there at the Shell Corner. Yeah, I mean, he's got one more car. If Squilliam gets by Black Bob here, man, I tell you what, it's going to be tough for Notovin because, there's nobody to battle Squilliam to hold him up, even if he does get by him.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. So he's got to be closer and start to apply that pressure. But he had good pace, especially once we hit the 10-minute mark or so in race 1. You might need to find some of that speed a little bit before we hit 10 minutes in this race, though, because they're already at the end of lap 2 in 2nd and 3rd, if you can believe it. Unbelievable job from the both of them. They said it was difficult to pass around here, but actually, when everybody's packed up in lap 1, all like that, then you can make 3 wide moves like what Squilliam did on the way down towards turn 4, and you can make up a load of places in 1. And that's exactly what they've done here. What a remarkable start from them. And you can see the lack of efficiency of some of those behind as well. Steve not quite able to stay with them, even though he's had a very good start by all accounts. He's not quite able to stick with them. He's on the back of Omega and losing time.
Yeah, well, look at that debris everywhere. Holy cow.
That's when
I tell you what,
and Urko went off.
There's a good battle going on back here. It's like 4 or 5 cars. I mean, they're everywhere.
The Omega, Steve's tuning in. Nicolator's here as well. Good start from him this time. Really hope he can start to turn his results around, because in the Endurance Series and the Sprint Series he's been involved in a few incidents, but this could be the start of a bit of a recovery for him. Not going to speak too soon though. Through Knickerbrook, that is a good run for Steve. He shouldn't have over the run over the top of the hill here, but he's not going to be close enough, I wouldn't have thought, to actually make a move into Druid's corner. He has a peak, but doesn't quite go for it on that occasion. They both just slightly missed the apex, and maybe into the final turn there will be a chance, and there will be for Steve. As Squilliam gets closer, Steve is going to get through on the inside line here by the looks of things on your Omega, and that will be a place, will it? No, well, maybe. They're still side by side though, as they work their way over the start finish line. And indeed for Nicolator versus Sneezy Jr. as well. Steve's just got his way through though, just in front of your Omega, who's now going to have a run down the other side in towards Cascades, outside line. Oh, it's going to be a difficult round there, and he won't be able to get through. They will all tuck back into line all over again. Squilliam again on the back of Blackburn Wallace. It's too much to watch right now. Into the gravel they go, which is now being cleared away, but for the second lap in a row, Blackburn Wallace just locks up into that corner. He's certainly feeling the pressure here.
Yeah, and you know, if I'm Nodovan, that's what I'm going to try to do to Squilliam. I'm going to stay behind him. If I can stay on his bumper and put all the pressure I can on him and try to force him into a mistake, because you're going to have to get him to spin or something, because you got to get him to finish past fifth. Passing him is just not going to do it.
Just got it done though. Squilliam's got into the lead, and that was a pretty sketchy pass through the chicane. Now Nodovin's got to do it immediately as well here. He cannot let Squilliam get away at all. He has got to get past Blackburn Wallace as much as possible here, or as quickly as possible, I should say. He's got to get this done, and he's got a tighter line there through Druid's corner as well. He's got a better run into the final corner, but is he close enough to have a dive down the inside? No. Oh, but Blackburn gets it wrong into the braking zone. That's a free place for Notovin there.
It was. Oh my goodness. Let's go back here real quick, and I want to see that again.
I mean,
he just,
or did he let him through? I
don't know. Maybe. Either that or he overshot the braking zone, but it wasn't too bad. You know, I don't know. That's interesting to say the least, but there goes Squilliam. I mean, the dude's so fast, man. It's going to be insanely hard. Like I said, if I'm Nodovan, I'm not even going to try to pass him, because just getting one place on him is not going to do anything. You need to stay on him and just ride him so hard that he makes a mistake and spins. That's really where your shot is, you know. You gotta. I'm not saying wreck him or anything. I'm saying, but you got to put the pressure on him and make him make a big mistake.
Yeah, and it is going to have to be a big mistake, because to fall down that far through the field for either of these two is pretty difficult in a day. But we've seen Notovin do it fairly recently indeed. So you just never know what is going to happen here.
I mean, it's going to have to involve damage. It's not just going to be an off track or an off track spin. That's not going to do it. You know, he's going to have to make a mistake that causes damage, I think, for this to. For Nodovan to have enough room to, you know, to put five places between the two of them.
But we have seen it happen. So
yeah, sure. Oh, absolutely.
We're not counting it out just for the moment.
And we're going to have lap traffic. This is a long race. There's going to be plenty of lap traffic come into play.
Doesn't look like Jason Manucci has bothered to even start this second race for some reason. So he was in second on the grid, but he didn't stop. Excuse me, he didn't start, and well, he is. Hasn't rejoined after either.
While we had all that going on earlier, we had a couple of incidents, but I couldn't cut away from that whole thing that was going on. So let's go back and take a look. This is Eat My Dust involved in something. Oh,
wow!
Hold on, that was. Let's see. I jump back a little more. Well, there we go.
There we go. Someone's lost that.
That's the worst camera angle. Come on, iRacing. You can get it around the trees somehow, can't you? All right, one more time.
Four cars went around there in one corner. At least four. Oh, my word.
There we go.
Heavy contact with the wall. But, someone's been hit there.
Oh, who was that? That was...
Just a bystander. It got a lot of damage, though, Itmadust, or was he just sat awkwardly on the bank? Yeah.
No, there's a
maybe
bunch
it
of
was
cars.
Omega.
It was Sneezy Jr. that caused the original crash and came back on the track.
I think he was hit by somebody. I don't think he ended up there by himself.
No.
I think,
Let me see here. Maybe Schwab? Oh, no, here. Let's go back to here. We're digging in deeper into this. No, he's already wrecked there and came back on the track. This is so weird the way this is shaking out. Like it's, I don't know.
that tells a bit more of the story.
He lost it though on the outside. I don't think there was. I don't think there was contact.
Well, not initially. No, they were side by side, and Sneezy Jr. did get in the grass slightly. He spun to the inside, and on the way back across, there might have been contact, but by that point, he was already spinning and out of control. So can't really blame anybody else for that. And that was it's put him well down the field. Unfortunately, he's going to come back out though, Sneezy Jr. back out onto the circuit. So that is good. At least as Urko and Ryan Schwab now, the two teammates, start to run together in 8th and 9th. Sorry, 9th. Oh, yeah, they are 8th and 9th. Yeah, in the field. And, well, they are continuing to try and climb up some positions here a bit further down after the chaos of the opening laps. Lap 1 wasn't too bad, but after that, it did get a lot more lively.
It did indeed. And then Omega had an incident not that long ago. Was he? Oh, no, that's not part of the same thing. Well, right there, that's such a classic Druid spin. Golly, that car, you get the wheel turned a little bit, and that car gets up on that elevation change and gets light, and that's all she wrote there.
Yes, that's the end of that. And, well, just over 10 minutes gone. Squilliam and not having a 1 and 2 as you'd expect. Squilliam requiring a top 4 finish to make sure that Nottingham can't overtake him in the Drivers' Championship almost no matter what happens here. Nottingham has got the fastest lap point though, which could be important for the Teams' Championship. Gavin Edmond with 11th position would only score 20 points, but 35 go to Squilliam. That's 55 overall. Nottingham scoring 33, so that would be a 22-point gain. They would win the title by at the moment by 10 points. And here's Squilliam to drop a long way down the field. I actually don't think there's a situation where Squilliam wins either one or the other. I think he's having one. It's one of those weird coincidences where, unless it's Hammond who has the good result, I suppose. But then it's possible that he doesn't win the drivers, but does win the teams. But effectively, Squilliam and Hammond would have to swap positions in the field, and that does seem fairly unlikely.
Yeah, that's probably a bit of a reach, you know. Man, these guys back here are battling. I know they're teammates and all, but
I don't think these two.
Oh, no, these two aren't. Never mind. No, my bad.
Yeah, they got rid of Ryan Schwab, who is suddenly a couple of seconds behind. So
yes,
Urko was running with a teammate, but not anymore. They're just in a similar livery, which is a bit annoying. Anyway, we'll try and tell them apart for 7th position here, Biker Pilot and Urko. This is Urko trying to come back through the field again here for, I think, the 2nd race in a row, doing something similar to this.
And he was, had a great finish in that endurance race this week too, or last week. He's having some good runs. He's definitely improving as the season is going on. And by the way, the quick way to tell who it is obviously Urko has the bright red wheels on his car, which I'm a huge fan of. I love
I don't see very painted rims at RS.
Oh, I love everything. Every car I run has painted rims on it. I love it, man. I just think it makes the car stand out. It makes it certainly easy for broadcast. Like, you can see that car right here and have no question that's him, And I love that.
Yeah. It's got to be the right colour, but fitting with the car itself. But yeah, it is just a good idea. I wish more teams would do that, to be honest, just to make our lives a bit easier through Druids. And
like one teammate run a colored wheel, the other one run a black wheel. That way, when you see the car from a distance, you know which teammate it is. You know what I mean?
True. Although they do have to be, it's no useful from this angle. For example, you've got to be side by side with him, as he does go down the inside. By the way, that's wide. Oh wow! Biker Pilot very nearly spun there, straight into the path of Urko, but he didn't, and they'll get away with it. But that's Urko up to 7th place.
I tell you what, this up here is not looking good.
Not for Notvin, it's not.
No, it's starting to stretch out a little bit.
Showing the advantage of track position and being in the lead, to be honest.
And Squilliam has got the fastest. So does the fastest lap go over both races, or is it each race has a fastest lap?
Each race has 1 point for fastest lap.
Okay, well, so right now, Squilliam now has the fastest lap for this race. Although we'll probably see that come down as the fuel load burns off in these cars. So,
although we didn't come much down below this, I think Squilliam got fastest with a 25.1 in the last race, and we're nearly there already in this second race. We'll wait and see. Of course, they'll have to make a pit stop, so they'll have 2 goes effectively at getting the fastest lap here tonight. Doesn't look like either of them have improved on that occasion, as we see the intervals now. We'll try and keep an eye on who's got the fastest lap, but one thing is to note, Notvin does already have that fastest lap point banked, and he's already got the pole position bonus point banked as well, so he's got a couple of bonuses, but unfortunately he's 10 points adrift still coming into this race, and right now it doesn't look like he's going to get those 10 points.
No, he's again, it's going to require a huge mistake. That's the only thing that's going to save him at this point. There's no scenario in which Squilliam doesn't wreck that car that Notvin wins the championship. It's not going to happen. There's no way there's 5 guys on this track that are going to pass Squilliam at this point. No chance.
I mean, for example, you're already looking down at Nicolay having to catch 12 seconds or so over the course of 25 minutes. That is not going to happen without any sort of major intervention here. So, it's a mistake that's needed for Squilliam now, and only he is in control of this as it stands. Steve in the background is catching up to Blackburn Wallace. You can see Urko catching up to AJ as well. It's another race back through the field for Urko, as we were saying.
Yeah.
And he's now looking at 6th position in the field.
Yeah, let's go back and see how he's had a couple of interesting little run through the field, so let's see what he's doing back here. Also want to pop up on Steve too. Look, that's nice. He got a nice exit off that corner there. Oh yeah, he's
very good exit.
Tucked in that draft. He's going to make a nice little dive bomb right here. Easy pass right there.
Oh,
nice.
Bit of a squeeze, but he
did. As James would say, he looks like he went and saw Kim Kardashian's plastic surgeon because he just cut his nose off. That's a James line, by the way.
Him say that.
Oh yeah, that's a James line. Went and saw Kim Kardashian's plastic surgery and got his nose cut off, or cut his nose off. Yeah,
I'm not sure she's ever had a nose off. See, I've never seen it without a nose.
No, I think it just meant she had a nose job. That's all.
Right. Why the hell are we talking about this?
I don't know.
It's
James's fault. Yeah, it's James's fault.
Yeah. He's not even here, and he's causing trouble. Nicolay is close to Notvin's got off. Well, we've been talking about
what?
This is why we shouldn't go off track, because unfortunately Notvin's been off track, and all of a sudden it's impossible.
Goodness.
Championship journey has become even less possible. It's through turn 3. Through Cascades. Wow, that's what pushing hard does for you. That's what pushing to the limit for a championship does to you. He's got off through turn 3, and that'll be the end of that. He's barely kept on to 4th place there.
Yeah, I don't think he's done yet.
There's something else here.
Yeah, I think so.
He's fine through that.
Well, it showed. Maybe not.
No,
I guess not.
It's fine.
All right.
We joined up by this point, so we know it's fine by this point. But yeah, wow, that is huge. DT and Biker Pilot into the pit lane in the meantime, but these two are the closest to on the circuit. They're all promoted up positions as a result of those pit stops that have been happening up ahead. What a difficult situation this is for Notvin now. You could tell he was giving it absolutely everything to push for the lead, but that's what happens when you push a bit too hard.
Yeah, he. I mean, he's had a couple of really unfortunate situations over the last couple of weeks. Last week, that was a bad deal for him. He got lucky in the end. and got brought back into the championship by an equipment failure from, but I just, it's just unfortunate. A couple of unforced errors here or there. But this is his first year, I think, in this league, if I'm not mistaken. He's certainly shown to be a great contender here. And I think there's, I have no doubt there's plenty of championships in his future.
Lisa, not going to give up on this one just yet.
Apparently I did already. I didn't, I said I wasn't going to do that, but apparently I'm handing out trophies.
Said you wouldn't be handing out trophies, and here we are. There we go. Just under halfway here, by the way, and Omega's pretty close to Biker Pilot. Eatman Dust is getting close to DC as well. The only two battles on the circuit are a bit further down the field as it stands, and here is one of them. DC just fresh out the pit lane alongside Biker Pilot as well, both up against drivers who have not yet been in, I don't believe anyway, for their mandatory pit stops yet, even though I think Omega had to come in to make some repairs. I could be wrong about that, but certainly battling down for 12th position, and these two for 10th. Oh, and off. Right in front of Emidus there. DC goes off, and I'm not sure if he scraped the wall or not, but he's gotten away without major damage anyway. Biker Pilot now will take the place as well. Omega maybe 2 into Island Bend. No, not quite, I don't think. Just following the tower. Yeah, there you go. Well, big lock-up from Omega, but no, doesn't get through. And so, DC drops to 12th.
Yeah, let's see. Let's look at that from the chopper view and see if we can figure out exactly if he did hit the wall, too. That's going to be a big deal, too.
I'm not sure if he hit the wall or not, so we'll find out from here.
Oh, this is early. This is not it.
Just understeer, ran wide. Oh, this is the one before.
Yeah, this is the earlier one. That's so. Oh, here it is, I guess. No, it's not. Oh, yeah, there it is. There it is. No, he didn't hit it. He's all right.
But you see the way the camera angle was there. He went behind the trees and they didn't know what happened. But he didn't grab the wall, so that's fine.
The current tire models don't penalize you for that right there, but from what I understand, with the new tire models that are coming, that'll be a death sentence when you do something like that in the future.
What, running onto the grass or flat spotting?
No, the flat spotting them like that when you slide lock them up on the cement, or the asphalt in this case. This is really the only battle we got on the track right now. Yeah, apparently the new GT3 tire model is coming out this release, and it's supposed to be very similar to what they did to the GTP cars. So you're going to have those tires you didn't know? Yeah, that's they have announced that already, that it's a whole new tire model for the GT3s. They're going to require a lot more time to warm up, and they're supposed to be a little tougher combination, more realistic. So that's on the way this coming release, which is what now in, I don't know, like 3 weeks or something?
Weeks,
yeah.
3
weeks.
Like that. Here comes DC in the meantime. Oh, in the inside, not quite. Are they trying to price me out of this game talent-wise? Goodness me. Ruined the experience.
If you want to be honest, if you look at what they're making major changes to, I really think that they're trying to shut down Le Mans Ultimate. That game is coming so hard right now. People so many people are saying that's the best sports car game out there, and it's good. And I think that iRacing is trying to, they upgraded the GTP cars now, although they were supposed to have the whole hyper system worked out for this upgrade, but that hasn't happened yet. So that's gonna delay another release. But and now the tires on the GT3s. I mean, I think they're getting serious about their sports car stuff to slow down people jumping over to Le Mans Ultimate.
It's a slightly hot take, but I don't mind it. That's quite, it's good theory. It's good theory.
Well, I know that I do most of my sports car racing now on Le Mans Ultimate.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't say I've ever tried it.
oh, it's good, and it's not near as expensive as iRacing. No, well, as far as you don't have to pay
a game yet.
you don't have to pay a yearly fee, and the amount of DLC that you're going to have to get is much less than iRacing, and it's not individual cars for $14. It's like $15 for a couple of cars and a couple of tracks when they release them. So better deal,
Yeah. Here comes Erko on the inside of Nicola into the chicane. Oh my word! Well, they've gotten away with that somehow. But
and here?
These two going side by side through the chicane is pretty unbelievable. Great respect shown and great racing between the two of them there as well at Hislops and then through Knickerbrook as well. Still side by side and towards Druids. And Erko's got the inside line. They still give each other the respect.
Wow.
And that is great racing between the two of them. Nicola is going to get a run even because he's on the outside and he's been given the respect by Erko. Exactly what side-by-side racing should be like, and that was fantastic between Erko and Nicola, who now both follow each other into the pit lane.
I tell you what, you won't see two guys go through that series of corners side by side like that very often. That's you won't see that very often at all.
Absolutely not. That was fantastic between the two of them. They will be overtaken by Bob Wallace and Simply Steve here pretty easily. Squilliam's also made his pit stop. We're still waiting for Notovin. That's why he's out leading out front. But mandatory pit stops time for all these drivers. Erko still behind. Oh no, he's ahead of Nicoletta now, sorry, but he's just behind Gavin Ammerman, who I don't think has stopped yet.
Ammerman has not stopped yet, no.
I thought so. So we'll go through the order when everyone's been in, but
yeah,
we're still waiting for Notovin and Ammerman to be in amongst maybe one or two others as well. But this is the closest battle on the circuit, and it looks like it's going to be for that second spot now, although they're probably going to be caught by Notovin at some point before the finish.
Yeah, you would think, certainly. He's going to have a little fresher tires when he does pit, and right now he's running on a lot less fuel load, so yeah, he's probably let's see, look at his lap times. Yeah, he's in the pits now, it looks like. Yep,
in.
Yeah, he just pitted.
Probably left that as long as he could have on the low fuel, but it's not going to matter at this point. As you were saying earlier, it's got to be a mistake now for Squilliam to lose this. Notovin is going to maybe even get out in front of these guys with a bit of an overcut. Be pretty impressive if he could do it, but he's got a long trundle down to the end of pit lane just yet. 2 seconds, the gap comes down. It's going to stay there
out.
though.
Yeah, he's
Notovin
out.
Will be in front of them. Well, he is going to be in second place, ahead of Blackburn Wallace and ahead of Simply Steve as well. Fantastic run through the pit stops there from Notovin, who is comfortably in second place now.
Yeah, he that was a good job there. He put down some good laps, I guess, while he was on that light fuel load, and made up some of the spots that he suffered through with that very unfortunate spin he had earlier.
Well, he was pushing absolutely as hard as he could then, and he will be again now. Squilliam, though, needs an accident to have this taken away from him at this point. He would have to drop over 25 seconds to drop into a position where Notovin's championship leader, as Blackburn Wallace and Simply Steve go side by side in towards Hislops as well there. But Wallace still keeps that position. That final podium spot they keep battling over.
It's a great battle between those two right there.
Feeling it's going to be the same podium as what we saw in race 1, to be honest. I think Blackburn Wallace's days are numbered here into the final third of the race. You can certainly see a scenario where he hangs on for the whole way, but I think this is going to be a huge job for him. I'm not sure he's going to be able to do it. Simply Steve is going to get close again now in towards turn 1. He's on the inside line, pretty late, but he's far up alongside. Wallace keeps the position fairly easily again, but again, 12 minutes. It's going to be hard for him to hold on for that long.
I'm sure Erko is saying, you guys just fight it out lap after lap, because he's got 8 seconds to make up. So he could certainly use some good side-by-side battling out of those guys for a few laps, which they're giving him. This has
Needs to be
been.
a second a lap faster, Zerko. We've got 8 laps left at the end of this one.
Yeah.
So we're 8 seconds. That's a big ask.
That's a big ask. Big ask. I don't know what it is, man. I'm very happy for Squilliam. He's a great guy, you know. But I don't know. There's just something about me that I feel a little disappointed for Donovan that it wasn't, you know, a little bit closer. You know, like I don't know. I love drama, not bad drama, but I love excitement till the end. You know, I was kind of hoping we were going to have one of those where, you know, is he going to make it to 5th place to win the title? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. You know, those ones, to be fair, only come along once in a while, unfortunately.
True.
So you know, you've got to wait around for those. But you know, I think we still had a decent championship finale here, and I just think whoever got out in front there in the lead in either race was going to win between Squilliam and Nottingham, with hindsight now, because you saw the way Nottingham just absolutely lit the afterburners in race number 1, and Squilliam looked like he was nowhere near as quick as him in race 1, but suddenly in race 2 they were the opposite way round, and the two abilities almost of the two drivers look completely the opposite way around as well. When Squilliam had the track position, he absolutely flew, and obviously the 13 seconds flatters him because of the spin for Nottingham, but even so, I think he would have been winning by multiple seconds at this stage anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if Nottingham hadn't have made that mistake and had that spin. So it all came down to track position here, and that's not the kind of circuit you really want if you're trying to gain back so many points. And at the end of the day, the damage was done at the Hockenheim ring when Nottingham lost all those points.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. That's absolutely correct. That's where the damage was done. You know, and it makes you think to, you know, as somebody who picks tracks for a league or whatever. Do you put that much thought into what the last track is when you're setting this up, you know, 10, 12 weeks ago? Do you think, man, if we go with a close points battle to Oulton Park, there's not going to be much passing? You know, do you think that far in advance, or, you know?
If I was setting a league, I certainly would think about the last track. You don't want to. I don't think I'd think about it in terms of, you know, it might be difficult to pass unless you've got, I know we don't have a Monaco Grand Prix style, which is true, but also it's not impossible.
No.
As Biker Pilot has made a mistake here, by the way. He's going to drop behind DC and AJ and DC both going to get past him there.
Yeah, no, it's by no means is it impossible to pass here, for sure. You know, and so, I mean, I agree that this is a finest places any to get it done. You know, I don't know what else you would, you know, what track you would pick for the ultimate drama for the finale. You know, the best race of the year this year was a track that we thought was going to be a sleeper. You know, we thought that was going to be boring, and that turned out to be the best race of the year.
Yeah, it's weird how those things work. So, you know, there is another case of, you know, you just can never really predict what's going to happen within the races as well. I mean, some terrible circuits have produced some fantastic races in the past in motorsport, and that is always going to be the case, because nothing is ever certain in these things. As we go back to Blackburn Wallace and Simply Steve continuing to fight it out, and every lap that passes, all of a sudden it looks less likely that Steve is actually going to be able to make this overtake. Like what I predicted early on, I said that the podium drivers from race 1 would be the same as in race 2. Steve finished in 3rd in race 1, and he's not getting this last place as things stand to complete that full circle in race 2. But there's the error.
Oh,
just as I was saying it. There's why you don't hand trophies to people. Blackburn Wallace makes a mistake. Pretty unforced error, actually, into the British chicane, and he loses his 3rd place.
Oh, apparently it's not me that does it. Apparently it's you. When you start handing out trophies, that's when it happens.
Maybe, yeah.
That was funny.
Nothing happened when you did it earlier.
Yeah, no, nothing at all, right? No drama whatsoever. I do realize here that Urko is not making up any time at all. You know, he's still he's still exactly where he was, but you know, I don't think there's not enough time now to get any of this done. So short of, you know, mistakes. Let's let's see, we got something here that'll happen in a little bit.
AJ and DC again. Biker Pilot not able to stay with them after the mistake last lap or the lap before. And DC has got a pretty good run out of Knickerbrook there, but again, not close enough quite to make a move over the top of the hill here on AJ.
No,
just
but
do with the... go on.
No, I was going to say, if he gets a good run here, though, but he didn't, I don't think he got the run he needed to try to overtake him here in the last turn. Of course, that's a hard place to overtake, too, because your car unloads on you right there, and that's, you know, you want to have your wheels straight when that car unloads on you.
Yep, it's all the balance between those. Oh, big slide from AJ, but he's actually gained a bit of time there on the way into 8th position. So
man.
we'll leave them to it for the moment. And just talk about the teams championship here, because discounting bonus points, Ammerman and Squilliam right now are going to score at 59, whereas Nottingham only going to score 32. As I said earlier, with Ammerman down the field, there's pretty much no way in which Squilliam wins one without the other. If he's going to win the Drivers' Championship with his top 4 that we know that he needs, then he'll win the Teams' Championship. If he drops outside of that, then Nottingham suddenly becomes much more likely to win the Teams' Championship and the Drivers at the same time, because of the weird way that it's worked on the final race. So if Squilliam holds out front, then he'll be Teams Champion alongside Gavin, and also Drivers' Champion for himself as well.
Well, I mean, you have to give him and his teammate credit. They've had a great year. I mean, Squilliam has had a phenomenal year. Not to take anything away from he's done. I know we kind of like, oh well, it all kind of changed last week with the, but the reality is that's what winning a championship's all about, is not having too many of those kind of weeks, like Nottingham had last 2 weeks ago. It's just one of those things.
It is. Well, these things happen. And speaking of things that happen, this season will be coming to a conclusion in just 4 minutes' time. Over the start-finish line for Squilliam. He's got 3 laps to go now of the season. 3 more laps now to not make a mistake, effectively.
Yeah, he's... I wonder, at this point, I doubt he's feeling a lot of pressure. I'm sure he's settled in, and he's probably pretty comfortable. He seemed pretty comfortable when we interviewed him during the warm-up in between races. He seemed to, he didn't seem to be too worried. It was 10 points then, so, he said he thought his odds were very good that he was going to still win, and, and certainly he went out and took care of business. I have to give him credit. That first lap or two he put down, man, he got a lot of passes done. And the key one was he made sure that he was in front of Nottingham when it mattered, because they started on the same row. But in the end, he got by him. So that's what, effectively made sure he wins the championship. Yeah, I'm handing out trophies again.
Oh, hello. Yeah. You're right in that the start of the race was really where this all came down to it. And to be fair to Nottingham, he had a great start as well, coming through the field on lap 1. They said at the start of the race it was going to be hard to overtake, and maybe we should have seen that coming, and that they were going to be aggressive on the opening lap. I actually thought they'd take it really easy, especially Squilliam on the first lap, because he knows that any crash would be the end. But actually almost hanging back and trying too hard not to get involved in a crash is almost as bad, because you get stuck behind people, as we've seen at points here today, and he'd be waiting on people to make mistakes, and it could get a little bit nervy. But as you point out, he did make it clear that he thought the odds were still in his favour at the end of race 1. I think he was probably right. But
absolutely.
He's put it beyond any doubt in this race. Never mind, odds in his favour. Just about. He made it sound still quite close. He's put it beyond any reasonable doubt quite early here.
See what happens here. Oh, heading into Druids. This is going to be one of those, I think. Oh, it's going around. Golly. Of course, the camera angle sucks, but that's one of, there's 2 ways you go off at Druids. You either go flying through that sand trap towards that wall, or you got your wheel turned when you crest that hill, and it gets light and goes right off to the left, to the right-hand side there. That's the 2 ways you go off at Druids, man. It's Whew, that's a rough one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I think. Well, I lost my train of thought. Sorry, I don't know where we're at before I clicked on that replay.
it's all right.
I don't even. I lost my memory so bad I didn't even know it was called a replay anymore.
We're coming into the final lap anyway.
Yeah.
The white flag's being readied on the season. The J2iCS Sprint Series coming to a finish, and as long as Squilliam gets to the end of it, he will be champion. That's all it really requires. Along with it, the team's title as well, alongside Gavin Amman. A good season between the two of them. Unfortunate that Bozak not here on the final day of the season to help Nottingham hold on to that lead for the night racing team. That part of it is a shame, certainly, but going to be 2 deserving championships for Squilliam and 1 championship for Gavin Amman at the end of this season, and he'll be very, very pleased with that. Nottingham's going to have a good chance next week to win the Endurance Series as well, but he'll be desperate to avoid being runner-up in both. It looks like he's going to be runner-up in this one, though, as Squilliam now comes into the final sector for the final time.
Yeah, he's bringing it on home now. He's, essentially he's really got just one turn to really worry about from here on, I think. He had a fine season and I can't get past what he did on the first lap of this race to put himself out there in front of Nottingham, and he made up so many spots. Maybe 5 spots on the first lap. So impressive.
Absolutely. Squilliam up the rise towards the line here at Oulton Park for the final time. The checkered flag waves on the J2iCS Sprint Series season, and Squilliam is our champion. A fantastic drive on the final race of this season to push his margin back out to Nottingham, who will actually have more points than him over the 2 races, but he doesn't gain enough to be champion this time around. And in the background, Gavin Amman with 7th position. He's going to confirm title status as well. He is going to be team's champion alongside Squilliam. Nottingham, without the help of his teammate Bozak on the final day of the season, it's going to mean that Gavin Amman will confirm the title in a few moments' time as he comes into the final corners right now. A good season from him as well that has seen him right around that sort of top 5 region of the championship standings all season, certainly top 10, where he's going to end the season here, and not in the end actually that far off of 3rd because of how congested the field has been. Amman will come over the line and the team's championship will be secure as well.
Yeah, that was they really had a good run. It was unfortunate about Bozak not making it today because I believe they would have had the team championship, which probably would have essentially softened the blow slightly, So, do we have results? I think we do. Yes, we do.
Yeah, we should get the results now, and we'll see them for the final time this season. Squilliam winning by 10 seconds. He's about to do some donuts in the background as well, by the looks of it, to celebrate. Oh, he's going to hit the wall. Nottingham is going to be in second, as they have been on so many occasions, one way around or the other this season. Simply Steve finishing in 3rd place, just ahead of Blackburn Wallace after a good overtake late on. Urko got up to 5th after making plenty of overtakes himself. Nicoletta to 6th position, with Gavin Amman quite a few seconds back, just inside a minute of the race win. AJDC, Biker Pilot were on the lead lap. Brian Schwab went 1 down with Ikmadust. Season Junior went 2 down. Omega retired quite late on. And for whatever reason, Jason Nuki didn't start the final race of the season. Not entirely sure why. Let's have a chat then to the man of the moment, Squilliam, who's taken the title here in the J2iCS Sprint Series F3 Championship. Congratulations, Squilliam, on the title and a race win to cap it off as well. How are you feeling at the end of that one?
Yeah, really, really good. Feel a little bit bad for Airco at the start there. I got to watch that back. I feel like we just had a little netcode contact, so apologies to him. But yeah, really good. That was a fun race, and we're unfortunately not have made a little mistake there, but we got the gap and just kind of maintained most of the way. So
And for the team's championship as well, you've managed to take that with Gavin Amman, who of course didn't have a very good start to the race. But I want to talk about your start to the race, because it was certainly a lot better. I was expecting you to take it so easily in towards turn number 1 that you might even certainly stay where you are, might even go backwards, because you just didn't want to get involved in a crash, which would have certainly derailed your championship. But you were super aggressive in the right way in the first lap. Talk us through your thoughts going in and how you executed that.
Yeah, I just saw the gap and figured I'd go for it, and if just kind of try to tuck up close and get on the inside of for turn 3 there. I knew if I had that, I could probably get a better run, because it's a little hard to get the run on the outside there. And then with I think Omega kind of went off in the grass. Maybe it was him, could have been somebody else, but that kind of shuffled things around, and I was able to just kind of keep squeezing by, and Gavin kind of lifted to let me through, and I was able to get a nose in on Erico a little bit for that next corner. So feel like I got a little bit lucky and just kind of made the right decisions there.
Well, congratulations on making those right decisions, and indeed the title as well. Thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us after both races tonight, and enjoy the victory.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Thanks very much. That's Squilliam, who has won here tonight in the J2iCS Sprint Series in the second race, but more importantly, the championship overall as well. Let's now chat to Notvin, who is runner-up not only in that race, but in the season as well. Notvin, congratulations on another podium, but unfortunately, it's not quite enough this time around. Tell us how you're feeling at the end of that one.
Yeah, it was kind of a long shot anyways. I don't think I would have like Squilliam would have had to made a mistake under pressure and hit one of the barriers or something, but I'm okay with a second. I'm more mad that I didn't get the fastest lap, to be honest, but oh well.
Well, I mean, you would have the clean sweep, but you came pretty close, and of course that mistake you made through turn 3 as well, just to spin to the inside, as you say, might not have played too much of a role in the final standings anyway. But what was that? Just you pushing almost too hard maybe to try and take the race win in the last race?
Yeah, it was I was kind of on a roll. I was gaining on him, and then I kind of messed up my entry a little bit, and it put my car slightly wider than what it usually is. And I was I knew I was going wide, and I just kept my foot in it because I didn't want to lose any time. And because I haven't done that in practice, and it obviously didn't go very well. But I'm happy that I kept it out of the wall.
Well, yeah, exactly. It could have been certainly a lot worse. Well, congratulations, Notvin, on another second place here tonight, and commiserations on finishing second in the season. Thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us at the end.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks very much. That is Notvin, who finishes second this season to Squilliam. Simply Steve finishes on the podium twice here tonight. Another third place for you, Steve. Congratulations on a double podium. Talk us through that battle between yourself and Black Bob there towards the end. You were putting the pressure on, and eventually you got through.
Yeah, I mean, this track is so tough to pass at that I feel really lucky that was how it resolved itself, because I had tried to pass folks elsewhere on the track, and it was just really, really tough. So I think hopefully just a little bit of build of pressure, and mistakes happen. But yeah, super fun racing with Bob, and just entertaining the whole race. I pit early because I was losing some time, and then he jumped me in the pit cycle, and then we kind of got back to fighting as we were after the stops. So yeah, I mean, it's good fun.
How's the season been for you overall? How do you reflect on the 16 races now we got to the end of it?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't here for all the sprint races, unfortunately, but I mean, F3 is a fun car, and I mean, I'm glad we get to race it, and yeah, I don't know if I have any huge takeaways. I mean, I come to the sprint series when I can, just other life commitments, but no, I mean, it's these cars are good fun to race, and I'm glad we got to do a season with them.
So, yeah, Steve, this is Jim. You've had a good week. The last 7 days have been pretty good for you. Two podium finishes tonight, and of course, last week you had that great result in the GTP car. So you're coming on strong at the end of the season. I guess got next week left, and then you're going to be tough to compete against next year.
Yeah, I mean, I missed a bunch of the start of the season, so just because I was out of town and busy, so like it's a shame. But yeah, I mean, I definitely like to take a good swing at, if not the drivers, the team championship next season. That would be our team we've in the past have won both the driver and the team, and it definitely takes a lot of work. And all to show the people that the driver's champion and the team's champion, like, gotta show up, gotta put in the time. It's competitive at the top. So
yeah, and of course your teammate Eat My Dust with the Speed Squad here this season that you're referencing there. One more thing, by the way, is this your first Sprint Series race since Chicago? Have I got that wrong? Have you been here more recently than that?
Oh, sorry, can you say that again?
Is this your most recent race since? Was the last time we saw you at Chicago in the Sprint Series, or am I missing?
I believe I was at Misano, and then I was at Chicago. I was at Misano. I wasn't at Hockenheim. I think I may have missed a number of the sprint. I may have had one other one, but I don't quite recall right now.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, well, okay. That's fine. I said earlier in the broadcast that you haven't been here since Chicago, but I was slightly wrong.
You were at Phillip Island, weren't you?
Oh yes, yeah. I was also at Phillip Island. Yep. I remember that race. Good fun.
Yeah, great race. Great race.
Lots of fun, certainly. Well, thanks for coming to have a chat with us. As I say, Stephen, congratulations on a double podium tonight. Hopefully, we'll see you again for the last Endurance Series race next week.
Thanks. And I was put up to this, but I need a shout out to Eat My Dust Dad because he watches the broadcast. So I got to get that out there before I'm kicked out of the booth here. So.
And the team. Yes. Well, thanks very much, Steve. And yeah, we'll hopefully see you next week. Well, that's just about going to do it for us here tonight from the J2iCS Sprint Series. Good finale to the season, I've got to say, Jim. I did enjoy that. Although, two races where, it was difficult to overtake at Oulton Park. That's to be expected. There was plenty of action, though, going on across tonight. And, it's a fitting end to the season and a great champion as well. Cunningham winning the title by just over 10 points in the end, somewhere between 10 and 15 points in the end over Nottingham. I think around 14 points or so, but it doesn't really matter. He's taken the title and, very deserving as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we kind of got into this and I was, looking for this last lap kind of stuff but the reality is, how many championships in any kind of racing do you show up to the last race and it's, you legitimately got a shot to change who can win the championship? And we had that. And we have it again next week as well. So that just goes to show you that this series overall, because I kind of count them both as this, like it's an overall thing. They're racing one car one week and one car the next. I know they're two separate championships, but, just in general, we're down to the last race on both of these, and they both have championship implications. Next week obviously has championship implications. Yeah, I mean, what else can you ask for, man? It's been a great series. I love these guys. I can't wait to hear what two cars they pick to run next season. I messaged them today trying to get a little, or it might have been yesterday, to try to get a little scoop on that. But apparently those decisions have not been made yet. They're going to end up picking what they pick based on what they've run in the past and stuff like that. And then they put several cars up to vote, and ultimately the cars are chosen. So, but anyway, yeah, I mean, good fun, exciting, ready for next week.
Absolutely. We'll be back next week indeed with that final round of the endurance season. And as I referenced earlier on, don't be fooled by the fact that we are on an hour earlier next week, because it is the Crown Jewel race, a 9 p.m. Eastern Time race start, which is well before we actually start these broadcasts normally. So we'll be live on air an hour earlier than normal next week for a 2-hour race to end the season at Motegi. Make sure you join us for that one. Should be a very, very exciting one indeed. I've been Neil Leary alongside Jim Cunningham. Until we're back next week for that final race of the endurance season, it's goodbye for now.